afternoon and welcome to Gulfstream today. Katie Stazak here, joined by track announcer Pete Aiello. Ron Nicoletti is out of town, so Pete and I are going to be breaking down today's card for you. And it's an exciting one because we have a pretty big carryover in the Rainbow Six, Pete. More than $300,000, almost $400,000 in the pool. Pete, Ron and I talk about this all the time. Once this reaches a certain point, the money just starts pouring in. How high do you think this is going to go?
Well, I think we'll get to at least 450 here this afternoon. The caveat to that is that the more money pours in, the more likely there is for multiple winning wagers. We saw it last week. 20,000 was the return, but there was two of them. So the jackpot continues to grow. We'll see how high it can get here. Hopefully we can get it to at least Labor Day. It would be superstar status then. Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun. We've seen that happen before. It really makes for an exciting card. Everyone gets excited. Everyone's handicapping. So a lot of fun. But that's not the only carryover we have today. We also have a $2,000 carryover in the Super High Five. No? Okay. Well, we have that listed on our website, so we'll have to update that for you there. But we also have a special post time here on Saturday, and that is for the Travers Day. You'll be able to watch and wager on the entire card right here at Gulfstream. Silks will be opening early to accommodate for that, and we'll be getting started here with our live racing at 12:45 p.m. That is this Saturday, August 29th. We have a 12-race card, so we're going to be going all day, so make sure you set your clocks and be ready for that. So before we get to today's card, let's see what's going on around the country, because it's a pretty exciting time for racing, and there's some pretty fun things going on. I love this tweet from the other day from Steve Bick. This is from trainer Bob Baffert. Beholder, like Pharaoh in a dress. Beholder just won the Pacific Classic against males, and it was kind of reminiscent of American Pharaoh's Haskell win, Pete.
Yeah, Beholder, Stevens pushes the trigger at the 5/16, and that was the end of that. She left the field wondering what exactly happened, and came home really nicely as well. They went fast early, but Beholder came home very, very well. So everyone's billing the Breeders' Cup Classic as her next main goal. We'll see if that plays out. If, of course, Pharaoh does what he needs to do on Saturday, could make for an epic matchup.
What a great race that would be. And we saw another pretty great race here earlier in the week. That was from a horse named Jess's Dream. Jess's Dream, the first foal from Rachel Alexandra, former Horse of the Year, also by a Horse of the Year in Curlin. He made his debut after Rachel's second foal, Rachel's Valentina, went out and won it first asking. He wasn't in the race until late in the stretch, and he just flew by the field. It was pretty breathtaking.
Yeah, it was certainly more drama involved in Jess's Dream's win than Rachel's Valentina's win. He didn't look like at any point till they got to about the 8th pole that he had any chance, but boy, when he got his mind on business, it was lights out for everybody else. Came over the top from the far outside and won going away.
And a great ride from Johnny Velasquez there, kind of angling him out. Maybe didn't like getting all that dirt kicked in his face, and once in the clear, much the best. So a promising future for him. And what about a horse from the past? This third tweet we're going to show you. Funny Side, my all-time favorite racehorse. He was picked up in Lexington, Kentucky on a layover with American Pharaoh and his pony Smokey coming over from California. They picked up Funny Side. They all came to Saratoga. Funny Side paraded around the Saratoga paddock this morning. That was very cool for me to watch. They had all his connections there, and that is just a super horse plane right there, Pete.
Well, if I'm correct, the Saratoga stable are from Saratoga, aren't they?
They are. They were all there. The Saratoga stable, Jack Knowlton, Barclay Tagg, assistant trainer Robin Smolin, they were all there with Funny Side. A really cool moment. Larry Colmus, who calls our races in the winter, he's up there at Saratoga. He posted a really great picture of the whole gang there. So very cool to see. And again, have to give Funny Side a shout out. My all-time favorite racehorse. That's how I got into racing. So with that, we'll get into today's card and what's happening today. We're going to start the day. We have the main track listed as fast, the turf turf course listed as firm in the first race of a day is a $20,000 maiden claiming event. Fillies and Mares, 3-year-olds and up, going to be going a mile on the turf course. Scratch the one who was my top selection in here, right on target. I ended up going with the 7 Starship Espresso. Pete, you did too. Tell us more.
Yeah, Starship Espresso was a good second last time out. Right at this very moment, we are on the turf course. It's been raining this morning. Main track now labeled muddy to start off the afternoon. Starship Espresso was a good second last time out under Jonathan Gonzalez. The winner of that race, Vivacious Annie, was just okay in terms of class levels. But if you go 4 races back, I know I'm asking you to go 4 races back, she was a neck loser to Rose Graciela, who came back to win not once, but twice since then. It looks like she's overdue for a victory, and I think from a standpoint of sheer form, she's the best in here.
Yeah, and I think she seems to do her best running at this distance, so that's going to help her as well. And thanks for pointing out the track condition there. Pete's going to be on after the show as well to give you more changes. That's an update from this morning when we first got our track conditions for the day. In second, I went with the 5 Sweet Swan of Avon. I'm expecting this daughter of Shakespeare to be much improved in her second start for trainer Stanley Gold. Did not have a good trip in her debut, and she may have bled because she's going to get Lasix added today, and I can just see a lot of room for improvement here. Love the connections and a nice value at 12-1. But Pete, you went with the 6 and second, and that is Pav's Fantasy, currently the second choice, at least on the morning line, at 3-1.
Yeah, she's a horse that has absolutely no turn of foot. She runs where she lays. I didn't see a whole lot of dedicated speed in here, so I figured maybe Hernandez could get her closer to the early action. Like I said, she's one of those horses, she doesn't back up at all, but she doesn't really gain ground either. But against this field, that might be a good tactic, especially if the turf course has a little cut in the ground.
Yeah, currently right now we still have a while to go, but the 3, Our Sister Ania, taking all the money right now, 9-5, 8-1 in the morning line. Neither Pete nor I used her, so we'll see that plays out. But again, a lot of time until post time. So let's go to the second race. This is an allowance with an optional claiming tag of $12,000. We've got a field of 6 set to go to the post. No scratches or jockey changes. And I went, and so did Pete, with the 2 Focus on Me. And let's take a look back at Focus on Me's last race. This was from August 8th on Florida Sire Stakes Day in the Unbridled. Focus on Me is in contention at the top of the stretch. Going to tire a little bit. You see him there. The 9 has the lead, but horses are going to pass him here. What a finish this race was that day. But he's only beaten 2 lengths. It was his stakes debut. He's going to cut back to 6 furlongs today, and this is the distance at which he broke his maiden. He just was dominant. And I think between that and the class relief, he's the horse to beat.
All he has to do, fans, is run one of his last 2 races, and he'll be standing in the winner's circle. He's very, very good. He continues to progress, and he's absolutely a solid key in your early daily double. And the start of your early pick 4, I think you single right off the bat with Focus on Me.
We've got our exacta the same as well. In second is the 3, of course, from the Stanley Gold barn. Stanley Gold really thought highly of this colt early on, and he should be better second start off the layoff.
Yeah, he is stakes placed. He's a horse exactly like you said, second start off the shelf. He should be better here. I think from a pace standpoint, he'll be rallying from a little off the speed. The strong speed in here on a horse that was installed at 9-5 on the morning line. He draws the rail, take time to pray. His tactics are no secret. He's going to go as fast as he can for as far as he can. The problem is when we've got to the 4th quarter, he's really fumbled the ball lately.
Yeah, he has. He is going to be your pace setter. We'll see if he can stay the course. He was a game second last time out against Similar. What I liked was that trainer Safi Joseph Jr. has 2 horses in here. Jesus Rios rode them both last time out. He chooses Take Time to Pray, so we'll see how he runs. But you threw in the 6 Great Harbor K for Sally Mitchell-Hill.
Yeah, I think if Great Harbor K can sit off of Take Time to Pray, nobody really can afford to let him get loose because he is fast and he does have a victory over the off-going, which, by the way, our top play is bred very, very well for that. 387 on the Tomlinson numbers. Great Harbor K, if he can track from second, like he did a couple of races back, or at least tried to in his debut behind the impressive Tony Adams, I think he rates a chance in here. It should be noted his one victory was an easy victory, and it came over a less than fast racetrack.
Something to definitely keep an eye on today when you are handicapping this card. So let's move on to race number 3. This is also an allowance with an optional claiming tag of $16,000. Fillies and Mares, 3-year-olds and up, going to be going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Here we differ a bit, Pete. I went with the 5 Oxydata, but you gave the edge to the 2 Curlin's Princess, who I also used, so I can see why.
Well, Oxydata is the horse to beat in here. I just tried to do that. I picked the favorite in the second race. Didn't try to want to pick back-to-back favorites, especially with the early pick 4. The 2 Curlin's Princess, she needs to do much, much better. She's not been exactly as good as we thought she was last year. However, this is her 3rd start of the form cycle. Her first race off the shelf was on the grass. Last time out, she hooked Emerald Citadel, who was very, very good. And I like the fact that this filly gets in on a racetrack that has moisture in the ground. She's bred to like that. Curlin on the top side, Image of Mom on the bottom side, by Halo's Image on the mom-sire side. So the Tomlinson numbers agree with my logic. 374, the wet track number, and she already has a proven good race over that wet surface. So I think Curlin's Princess, it's now or never time for me. Gaffleone takes over, and she'll get the tepid nod for me here.
And trainer Marty Wolfson had her work 6 furlongs last week, so she should be dead fit for this start. But I did go with the 5 Oxydata. This is a 4-year-old daughter of Flatter. Going to return fresh again for trainer Peter Walder. Came off a 2-month layoff to finish second to the Mike Maker trained Holiday Stroll here on June 10th. This is a versatile front runner. She's won 2 of her last 3 starts on both turf and dirt. I think she should be the controlling speed here as well, which is always an advantage on the main track, but with how the track is, its condition, you're going to have to watch and see how it's playing early on. Pete, who else did you use in here?
7 horse had some intrigue for me. Katie Sumroar, second start off an extended vacation for a guy who used to work for the great Alan Jerkins. And my logic is very simple. If Alan Jerkins was not a guy to get him ready off the layoff, his proteges are probably not going to do the same thing. So Sumroar had to need that last race, ran behind the impressive winner in Pursuing Fate for Mike Maker, who went on to try Stakes Company. This horse herself, Sumroar, is stakes tested. She was 4th last year in the Gulfstream West House Party Stakes, so I think she's better now. She gets a rider switch to Jonathan Gonzalez, and she has an outside gate, which will help her see what develops up front, because a horse just to her inside, your second play, Hanley Haley, if she's right, she'll be on or near the lead.
Yeah, and Hanley Haley, this one is interesting. A former $625,000 purchase. She's going to be making her second start off a 7-month layoff for trainer David Fox, daughter of Malibu Moon. Training very strongly, went 4 furlongs and 47-4 here last week. A very strong work, so like Pete mentioned, you should see her forwardly placed as well. So let's head off to race number 4. This is a $12,500 maiden claimer. 3-year-olds and up, going to be going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. No scratches, but 2 jockey changes to note. We've got Diego Gomez on the 4 and Juan Oyola on the 8. I went with the 6 Magic Kingdom. Pete, you went to the outside with the 9. That's a main.
Yeah, I tried to beat Majestic Kingdom in here. He's another one kind of like Take Time to Pray. He's had some opportunities to seal the deal and hasn't done it when the chips have been down, so to speak. A main is a horse that's shown really nothing. To be completely candid about it in his first 2 races. But they were on dirt, and they were going 1 turn. Now we go on turf, we go 2 turns, and we drop in class. So there are some positives for a main. Trainer Ron Spatz does very, very well. And the mother of this horse, AP Reality, was a horse that liked the 2-turn trip. I'll see if Tyler Gaffleone can get this horse in better spot than he was in his last race. And the stretch out should help him from a tactical standpoint.
And you have to love what trainer Ron Spatz is doing right now. 4 for 10 so far at this meet. Hasn't had a whole lot of runners, but when he does run, they run well, so one to keep an eye on. Also want to update you, the track was just downgraded to sloppy, but we're still on the turf. The turf is still firm. It could definitely use the rain, so I'm not surprised there, but the track has been downgraded to sloppy at this point in time on the day. Like Pete mentioned, the 6 Majestic Kingdom, he definitely has had his chances. I'm going to give him one more today. He dropped to this level last time out, finished a strong second despite drifting out around the turn. I think he can run a much better race today. Seems to have found the appropriate level and could be the controlling speed. Misael Jaramillo going to pick up the mount today. Pete, we also both used the 1. That is Starship Rocky.
Yeah, he's a horse who should appreciate some cut in the ground. That's the other thing about the turf course here. When there is some moisture in the turf course, it doesn't hold up speed-wise as well as it has been with the sun shining, so to speak. I mean, lately, if you've been on or near the lead at the 3/8 pole on the grass, it's been very, very tough to run you off the ticket. But when there's rain on the course, you can make up ground and a lot of it. So that bodes well for some of the closers here. Leaves Majestic Kingdom with yet another hurdle to face. Starship Rocky was 3rd when Majestic Kingdom was 2nd. The only good news is they were a nose apart in that last occasion. occasion. No reason to think that that will be any different here this afternoon. The price will be better on the 1 than it will on the 6.
And if that is the case with a turf course with a little bit of moisture added, that is definitely going to help Starship Rocky, because he's going to need something to run at coming from off the pace there. So we will head to the 5th race. This is an $8,000 claiming event. 3-year-olds and up, which have not won a race since February 27th, will be sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. And here is where the Rainbow Six begins. $393,000 plus. You know that's going to go up by the time we reach post time for this race. And Pete and I, we both have the same 3 horses, so we're going to make it a little bit easier for you here in this first race. And we both gave the 4 the edge. That is General Shema.
And the horse will likely not go favored. The morning line favorite is the 2-horse Royal Fighter. He's 25 for 46 in the money. That's the good news. The bad news is only 3 of them are wins. So he's a horse that has some very, very good form, but he's not one to get the job done. A horse like General Shema is a viable alternative, even though he's only 2 for 24. He does have a victory in the off-going, and he has Jesus Rios riding today.
And I think he's going to like that cut back today to 6 furlongs. He's run against much tougher. And like you mentioned, Royal Fighter, not the best stats here on your morning line favorite, 0 for 17 at this distance. What about the other horse that we used, Pete? That's the one, Purple Smoke from the Louis Duco barn.
Tough to gauge his ability against this field. This is non-winners of the year for 8. He's non-winners of 2, lifetime eligible. It's an interesting race placement by Louis Duco. I don't fault him. Neither did the morning line maker. He's 7-2.
Yeah, I do think he finds a very nice spot today. The 6th race, if you're out in that opening leg of the Rainbow Six, no worries, you have the pick 5. It begins in this race with a $25,000 to $30,000 claimer. Fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races in life. We'll be going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. And we're going to take a look back at Pete and I's top selection. We have the exacta again here. This doesn't always happen with us, Pete. In a lot of agreement today. Let's take a look at Adachi. This is from her last race back on August 6th. And I thought Adachi ran a really game race. Duels to the wire, and is only narrowly beaten here in this race, and it was just her 2nd turf start since November. Seemingly running very well. A horse is going to get to her on the outside, but she hangs in there pretty well. I liked the way she ran. This was coming off a class drop, so again, seemed to respond to that class relief, and had to show a good deal of speed early to secure a front-running position from the 11 hole. Draws a lot better today.
She was extra game in that race, no doubt about it. You saw the backtrack. You can draw your own conclusions. Carter Rahia looked like she was home and cooled, but Adachi, I should say, came back to give her all she wanted late. She's definitely the horse to beat in here.
We also have the exacta here, the 8 LA Style, going to stretch out after running 6th when going 5/8 on August 7th at this level, and should be at her best when making her 3rd start off a 5-month layoff. What did you think about this one, Pete?
Well, I was intrigued. Ralph Nix runs 2. His go-to rider has been Gaffleone. Gaffleone rides the 8, not the 5. The 5 has the better form of the 2, so I wanted to make sure I included both of them.
That's a nice angle there, and I did put the 8 on the ticket for that reason, having top call Tyler Gaffleone in the irons. I also threw in the 2, Who's That Chick. Ran well last time out, but turning back off of short rest today. So let's move on to race number 7. This is a $16,000 maiden claimer. 2-year-old filly is going to be sprinting 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 3, that leaves us with 8. I went with the 5, Amelia's Wild Kitty. But Pete, tell us more about the 2, Secret War.
Well, Secret War is working for trainer Dan Pita, and working pretty well for a horse debuting for $16,000. See a 48-second flat half-mile breeze last time out. That was good for 6 out of 26 on the tab that day. Adds Lasix, gets Gaffleone, and will not be a horse that will be in the top contenders on the morning line. The horse that you like, it will be likely heavily favored, and I have multiple reasons for picking against, part of which is that the owner of that horse happens to be my boss at Hialeah Park, and he's convinced that any time I pick his horses, I jinx them. So for that reason, I'll go with the first-timers, Secret War, and the 6, Panetta. Harry Hernandez riding for Antonio Sano. Sano's been red hot lately, and his 2-year-olds are often well-met.
Well, I'm going to hope you're right there with that jinx, and that maybe will help my chances in picking the 5, Amelia's Wild Kitty, but I couldn't go against trainer Wesley Ward on the drop down to the maiden claiming ranks. Not afraid to do it. He's 29% in that category, and this one going to get in light when 7-pound apprentice John Cruz blew out a bullet 3 furlongs at 35-2 here last week. And well bred, I'm just I think once this horse figures it out, maybe she'll go on to do something. It's a half to multiple stakes winner, Amelia's Wild Ride. Pete, we have a few different horses here outside of the 2. What about the 6, Panetta?
Yeah, that's the horse for Antonio Asano that debuts today with Harry Hernandez riding. As I said, he's been very, very good with the first-time starters. Seems to me like in this race they're giving up on Amelia's Wild Kitty. She was good enough to split the field against a horse that was well-regarded in Patty's Flight. Patty's Flight shipped to West Virginia and went favored in a stake on West Virginia Derby Day. Now this horse is in for 16 off a lackluster run as the favorite. I think this is a horse that's worth trying to beat. The other horse that I had some intrigue was on the 1-horse Drama Princess. She exits a strong race, draws the rail here today with the race under her belt, also adds Lasix, and she took money in that strong race, so she'll be a horse that might be overlooked and can complete the exotics here.
I think what we're trying to say is you want to go a lot deeper in this particular leg of the Rainbow Six. Race number 8 is a $40,000 to $50,000 maiden claimer. Fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, going to be going a mile and a 16th on the turf course. And I went with the 1 here, Pete, that you did not use, but I want to show you a quick look back at the video from Simbola last time out. Oh, I'm being told that we do not have the video here for Simbola, so I'll just have to tell you about it. She finished second to Westminster Road, who came back to win the Miss Patty handicap in her next start. I think that definitely flatters her a bit. Going to return to the maiden claiming ranks today. Tried a maiden special weight last time out, but it was just a little bit too ambitious, and I think this is her ideal distance. But Pete, tell me about the 8, all about the chase.
Here's what you need to know. She's 7-2 against Include Betty. Yes, that Include Betty. Also a repeat winner in Hone In, a repeat winner in Prom Dress. Second start off the layoff. I went to the wedding. I'm going to the funeral. I thought she would be well met last time out. She needed a race. She was short. That's all there is to it. O'Connell has now got her a race, and this horse should be live here this afternoon under Eddie Nunez. Her form alone speaks to a horse that can be a lot better than she's shown so far. And anytime you're second behind Little Nelly, you get my attention. Lucky Pino came from well off the speed last time out. Zyar Destiny is another horse that you have in second here that tells about the chase will have to beat. Blavatsky is another one. That's another horse we both used as well. But I think she can turn the tables, and she'll be a nice number.
I do like Zyar Destiny. It's her 3rd start of her current form cycle. Gets the blinkers off today and was only beaten a neck at this level last time out after rallying from 5 wide. So a nice run from her, but another very competitive race here. Let's move on to race number 9. This is an allowance with an optional claiming tag of $16,000. 3-year-olds and up going to be going a mile on the main track. I'm going to give another chance to a horse in here named Saraguaro. I loved him last time out in the Florida Sire Stakes. Unbridled. He didn't run a step. Prior to that, he was really impressive when breaking his maiden here off a 5-month layoff. I'm just going to say he bounced off that effort and look for a rebound today. 3-1 on the morning line. But Pete, you gave the edge to the horse I have in second. That is Old Time's Sake, and I can see why.
Well, there's 6 horses in this race. 3 of them are 3-year-olds, and 3 of them are the older horses. I went with 2 of the older horses, the 3, Old Time's Sake for Peter Walder. He's freshened up since claiming that horse last time out. Herman Walensky was fighting with a couple other guys to keep him. Walder took him last time for 16, which was far steeper than he had been running for. So he gave him some time off for Luch Racing. Harry Hernandez has the call for me. He's very, very consistent. He looks the best, but this race is tough. It's a 6-horse field, but I think about 5 of them have a big look here.
And you can tell by looking at the morning line, a very tepid choice here in 5-2 morning line favor with Old Time's Sake. Only 1 horse with double-digit odds. That's the 2, Mr. Amos. The final race on today's card is an $8,000 claiming event. Fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races, will be going a mile on the turf. Scratch the 7, Sikar. The 11, that's your main track only, has yet to be scratched. Pete will give us more updates after this show is over, and we'll see how the track conditions play out there. We both have the same top pick here, Pete, so go on with it. Tell us about Buff Jet.
Well, Buff Jet got a perfect trip 2 starts ago. We showed the backtrack when you were in Saratoga when she ran the last time. She got a perfect trip 2 starts ago. She got a less than perfect trip last time out, but she didn't disgrace herself. She was only beaten for 3 lengths while very wide on the course. But I think, again, I'm banking on, and I handicapped the races yesterday, figuring there would be some rain here today. I think the closers will do well on this turf course. She seems to me to be one of the most effective closers in here, along with the horse just to her outside, who you use second, Zamarata. So for me, I went with closers at a bit of a price, and Buff Jet fit that perfectly. Diego Gomez rides the turf course well, and she's my top player.
I agree, Pete, and a nice little value there at 5-1. She has a bit of a habit drawing outside, really keeps drawn to the outside of the gate there. Going to need to work out a ground-saving trip, but definitely capable. You can see the rest of our selections, a little bit different as we give you some ideas for the super high five today. But that's going to do it for today's card. I will see you back here in just a little bit, and Pete will be back even sooner to update you on any other changes that we have with track conditions, scratches, jockey changes. It's going to be another fun day here at Gulfstream Park.